would you say right now that you'd be disappointed if the Yankees don't make the playoffs?
Well, you can't predict how things play out, and every decision we try to make, we certainly, it's intended with good consequences, but or good results, but it's a tough game, and for the next 2 months in the sprint we're going to be in, we gotta stay healthy and obviously perform to our abilities, and that's against the best competition in the world in the sport of baseball. So I got true respect for the opponents, as well as the difficulty on a day in and day out part of this game, to stay healthy and perform to your best levels, to say anything about that. So we certainly have been able to assess the first, April, May, June, and July, the first 4 months of this season, and believe that we are capable of, if everything goes right, of some really good things. But we got to get to October to be able to dream even bigger. And so we're just trying to put ourselves in a better position to see if we can get ourselves into that dance, and then we want to dance big if we can.
Is surprise a word you would use to be in the situation you're in compared to what maybe your expectations were in spring training?
I thought we were postseason capable, but I also thought, that there's a downside too. I mean, I think that's true of every team, and I think if everything goes right and you stay healthy, you have a shot to compete at least for the wild card. And if everything went even better and guys took the steps necessary and maxed out and you stayed healthy enough, and then I think we're capable of that much more. And then it forces the front office and the ownership to step up and reinforce and add on. And I think we're very lucky that ownership has provided the resources to do that. And so we've been able to, we've attempted to address as many needs as we possibly could with the starting pitching side of it, the bullpen side of it, and obviously the problem on the corner on the infield. So with Frazier's addition and the starters and the relievers, we've tried to address as best we could what we've got.
Brian, obviously you didn't get Sonny Gray for a bag of balls. Those three players were highly thought of by you and the organization. Which one hurt the most to give up?
In terms of the three?
Yeah.
Wow, I'd say they're all in the same category in terms of scouting assessment. The ceilings are, at a special level, and the two injured parties in Caprillion and Fowler, their return to play projections are, they're just in timeouts. They're supposed to come back at some point. The only one in Caprillion where we did factor into the decision-making side of it is because, we drafted him in the first round out of UCLA, and he hasn't been able to provide, innings without having injury, and then eventually had the Tommy John here in April. He'll get back probably pitching, in minor league baseball games in the summer of next year in 2018. Maybe he gets about 75 innings under his belt in the second half of 2018. And then in 2019, he'll get probably 125 to 130 or so innings, and maybe he's touching, the major league mound in the end of 2019 at some point. And then 2020 would be really when he's fully deployable, I think with the innings issues and stuff like that. So that did factor into it. I mean, but we have no doubt about what we think his ceiling is and his capabilities, and we gave up a lot in Mateo, Caprillion, and Fowler in Oakland. I think should be pretty proud of what they, were able to acquire from us. I doubt they were able to find a better deal anywhere else, obviously, and that's why they did the deal with us.